What's up, everybody? BT here. Listen, I've got a set of cinema lenses, this one and these three others right here, that will cost you a whopping 1,500 bucks for the whole set. That's not per lens, that's for the whole set, less than 1,500 bucks. Sorry for the interruption. I went on to B&H because I wanted to grab for you the exact price that I paid, which was $1,176. Yes, and 10 cents. But when I also checked mount options, because I couldn't remember if they made EF or not, the prices were different than what I paid. They are a little more expensive. So I paid $397 for the 35, $436 for the 25, and $342 for the 50. Same price for the 12, $303. However, if I hop onto B&H and I look at those prices now, and this is with the creator's discount, they're different. They're about $50 average more expensive. So you're gonna spend about $200 more for the entire set. Now that being said, still way cheaper than anything else out there. If you don't have the creator's discount, you're gonna spend about $30 more per lens on top of that. All right, that's it. All right, back to the video. This set of cinema glass consists of 4 focal lengths. Currently, I'm not sure if they're planning on making more, sure hope they do, but that's a 12 mil, a 25, a 35, and a 50. Now the 12 is a T2.9, but here's where things get interesting. The 25, the 35, and the 50 all have a crazy fast aperture of T1.05. Your focus puller is gonna punch you in the face fast. Now these set of lenses are called the Vision series. They're made by 7artisans. It's the first time I've ever purchased anything from 7artisans. And I will say right now, if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, that there is a fun factor with these lenses that I don't get from my other cinema lenses or any of my RF glass. These are just a very unique set of lenses that I think you'll really enjoy. This isn't gonna be a very scientific review. I'm not that guy. I'm like the polar opposite of a Gerald Undone. I will, however, in effort to give you a better idea of how this glass performs, I'm gonna be sharing some downloadable samples, clips of XF AVC, Canon Cinema Raw Light, and some R3D from my Komodo with a bunch with all the different focal lengths and different environments, both in the studio and out in Mother Nature, so you can see if this is a set of lenses that you want to invest in. And thankfully, that investment isn't that big. And I'm sorry, those are the only codecs that I can really work with because I don't own Sony, Panasonic, Leica, or Fuji. However, this lens set is offered in all of those mounts. So the L mount, the Micro Four Thirds actually, Fuji X, Sony E, I have RF. I do have 2 sets of cinema lenses. One is anamorphic and that's its own thing, but I do have a set of sphericals and that is by Irix. Those lenses are amazing. They are still what we would consider budget. The whole set of 5, I've got the production set. It's a 15, a 21, a 30, a 45, and the 150. That would cost you about 6 grand retail. They're about 1,200 bucks per lens. So if I already had a very well made, very sharp, awesome cinema lens set, why invest into this one? And look how small this thing is. Like, here's the 50. It is very tiny. They're very, very tiny compared to the Irix lenses. They're tiny compared to my RF zooms. Like my 15 to 35 is like 2.5 of these. So having something super small and portable is great. I can pack up all 3 of these into my little 6-liter Peak Design sling. And so if I want to go out shooting and have all the lenses with me and just carry the camera with a lens on it, man, I'm set. And I definitely can't do that with my Irix lenses. The next thing is this insanely fast aperture, T1.05. It gives you a razor thin plane of focus. I mentioned Zack Snyder earlier. He really loves to shoot wide open. And he made a movie for Netflix called Army of the Dead. If you haven't seen it, go watch it so you can see what I'm talking about when it comes to super shallow depth of field. He shot the movie entirely on 2 lenses. That's it, a 35 and a 50. They were the Canon rangefinder lenses. The 35 was a 1.5, but the 50 was a 0.95. It's just a very dreamy, ethereal look when you're shooting at that shallow depth of field. It can make things very challenging when you're pulling focus, and but it's also kind of fun. For a lot of low light stuff, I shoot a ton of jiu-jitsu. The lighting is nightmarish in most gyms, and actually going to that speed can just help out. The last thing, which was actually the biggest reason, is the character. I love my IRIX lenses. They are incredibly well made. They're built like a tank. They have awesome features, but they're very sterile, clinical. I wanted something with more character, and these lenses definitely have that. If you want a look, a really good look at what these lenses do, I watched Alexander Dawn's video.
What's going on, filmmakers? I'm Alexander Dawn, and today we're going to take a look at 7artisans' latest cinema lens called Vision.
And that's what kind of convinced me to buy a set of these, because they were just so unique looking. They kind of reminded me in some ways of anamorphics, of a Helios 442. Just a really interesting lens. Let's talk about the pros of this lens outside of what interested me. Well, first of all, the build quality is really good. For $375, the average, you'd think, plastic, chintzy, doesn't feel great. Not the case. These are made entirely out of metal, other than the glass optics, obviously. But they're hefty. They feel really well made, and I'm surprised by how smooth the focus gearing is, the mechanism here. God, why can't I think of the word for it? Anyway, both the iris and the focus gears are very, very smooth. This has a 270-degree focus throw, which, if you do have a focus puller, is really nice because you can get super accurate focus pulls. However, if you're doing it yourself, it's a little long, and sometimes it requires, multiple, rotations of your hand, and that can like throw things off. But really solidly made. I am impressed with these. The close focus distance on especially the 25 and the 12 are really, really good. So you can get some really cool, interesting perspective shots with those two lenses. What about sharpness? For some of you, that's going to be really important. For me, it's not super important. The sharpness of a lens isn't the main reason I buy it. But just to give you a comparison here, I'm comparing the 25 to a Sigma 28, which is one of the sharpest lenses I've ever used, and my IRIX 30mm. So I know those are different focal lengths, but that's as close as I could make it. The focus breathing on these lenses aren't that bad. The 12, it's very little. On the 25, it's very little. On the 50, it's a little bit worse, but still not that bad. The 35, though, is quite noticeable. Again, for me, I don't really care. I didn't buy this to be a very clinical lens. On the IRIX lenses, there's almost no focus breathing on any of them other than the 150, because that's a macro. It's definitely doable. I don't think it's a deal breaker at all. One thing that photographers don't really care about with their lenses, but cinematographers do, is color matching. Like, how well does each lens in the set match, right? We don't want 3 lenses that are very warm and then one that's much more cool. It just looks weird. It makes your time in post a lot more difficult and tedious. So how do they look? Let's compare. Now, here are some trade-offs that I've kind of figured out given their cost. One is that the gearing isn't in the exact same location for all the lenses. Like the 12 is different than the 25, the 35, and the 50. It's much shorter. Also, the lenses aren't the same size and same weight. In a much more expensive set of lenses, you're gonna find typically identical sizes, weights, and gearing placements. So lens swaps, whether it's on a gimbal or just on a tripod, becomes much faster on productions. You know, time is money. I've had the 25, the 35, and the 50 the longest, few weeks, maybe a month. The 12 I just barely got, but I've had so much fun with these. Their size just makes them like easy to carry. And for the run and gun personal work that I do when I'm just wanting to have a good time and have fun, these are the lenses I grab. If I need something a little more professional, I'll take the IRIX lenses or something else entirely. But I love using them. The other day, I actually got asked to shoot both photo and video for a charity event. And I shot video on the R5C and the Komodo using the 25 and the 50, but I also shot photos. And I gotta tell you, nailing focus at T1.05 manually while shooting sports is incredibly difficult for photography. And if you can get good at that, you're gonna be great with pulling focus on video. Overall, I really enjoy these. Like I said, 7artisans, if you watch this, I would love for you to make like a few short telephotos to really round out this set, a 65, an 85, maybe even 100, especially if you can keep them super fast. They're just really unique and a lot of fun. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, let me know down in the comments below. I haven't done too many lens reviews. That's why I said, like, can we even call this a review? Anyway, I'll catch you later. Peace.